But it'd be a shame to get through the holidays without making some sort of Christmas episode. And where else to start than the best Christmas episode to ever exist? And this whole video is just going to be one big, giant love letter to what I think, and I know I'm really going out on a limb saying this, the best Bob's Burgers episode to exist, which is season 13, episode 10, The Plight Before Christmas. Is it legal for me to have favorite episodes? I'm not entirely sure, but it's impossible for this episode not to be up there. And if you think I'm getting teary-eyed during this video, it's because I just finished watching that episode so that I can make this video right now. This episode breaks away from the standard rules of a Christmas episode. Normally Christmas episodes are they're comedic, but they're based around one particular Christmas element. This episode, Christmas is the backdrop. I think that's why it starts off with 9 days before Christmas, because you're meant to understand it's the holiday season, and while it is the theme, it's not the standout. The standout actually is your family, and also your identity and self, and you fitting into your family, be it your biological family or your chosen family. So in a world where we don't have time for ourselves, and in a world where we only have a limited amount of time with our family, how do we make it work? And I think this episode is the epitome on coming close to how you can make it work.
Dear God, why? There's gotta be a way. What time does everyone's thing start?
6.
Ah!
Lynn, easy. So someone's gonna call the police. Hi, she's happy.
So the first theme I wanted to touch upon was the theme of growing up. But the theme of growing up and letting the softness inside of you exist at the same time. And I'm very guilty of this. I cry at this episode every time I watch it. But I'm not going to cry on camera. Because I am guilty of not letting my softness exist. You know? And or maybe I will start crying, who knows. If you haven't seen it, the main concept of this episode is that Bob and Linda have to choose between Louise, Jean, and Tina to go, and they all have some sort of Christmas production happening, and Bob and Linda obviously want to attend everyone's Christmas thing, but they can't. They're only 2 people. And through no fault of their own, Linda made a simple mistake not realizing that Louise's thing took place on the same day at the same time as Tina and Jean's. And they had so much trouble even flipping between Tina and Jean's thing. It was very difficult for them.
How did you two choose who was gonna go to what?
Flipped a coin. Calmly flipped a coin.
Ah! Cut me in half so I can go to both? Oh, God!
Oh, crap.
Oh, I'm gonna be sick!
It's under the fridge.
Help!
I got it.
I almost threw up.
I was also very torn.
So to find out on the spot that Louise had, and I'm pretty sure if you think about it, what probably happened was, because Louise had a very immediate reaction to Bob and Linda, where if you watch the episode the first time, you're just like, you know, so Louise says, oh, you don't need to come to the library to see me read my poem. You know, I submitted a poop poem.
You know the drill. Every year I enter a poem with the word poop in it so that if it gets selected, I get to say poop in the library.
I submitted something so stupid, it's not even serious, I don't even want you to come.
Somehow I got in. I just need a ride. You don't have to stay. In fact, I don't want you there. If you tried to stay, I'd say, go on, get, and I'd spray you with a hose.
And the way she does it, she doesn't even blink. It's not even, as an audience, you're watching it, you don't realize that that anything is going on. You're thinking, oh, it's maybe some sort of joke. You don't even realize that this is the main plot of the episode. That Louise is the main plot of the episode. Obviously, everyone gets their star moment in this particular episode, which makes it very well-rounded. But she doesn't blink. You don't even realize it. And I think because of that, so when you watch it the second time around, you realize, you really catch that moment of, oh, she didn't even give them a second to doubt her. The reason she did that was not because it might have been that she was hurt, but I think she saw her parents having so much trouble choosing just between Tina and Jean that she didn't want to add to their burden. So she wanted to ease that as much as possible. And then on top of that, maybe she was hurt. And if she was hurt, she didn't want to show how hurt she was.
Thank you. Whew, big turnout. A lot of poetry lovers. Hi, how are you? Oh, you're not looking at me. You're looking at him. Great.
Family shows focus on the middle child being the person that is, in this case it would be Jean, that gets overlooked the most. And I like the fact that they chose Louise as the youngest child to be overlooked. Maybe also because I'm the youngest child? Who knows? So being the youngest, and being the youngest Belcher and not wanting to show how hurt she was, it's... the second time you watch it around, you feel bad for her. You feel a lot for her. Because you think, no, you're just a kid. You're just a kid and you're voluntarily putting yourself in those positions to taking on the emotional burden that shouldn't be your emotional burden. And maybe these are things we tend to internalize without realizing we're internalizing it for the people we love. And that's why this episode is so special, because this is the episode where, fine, if you are the member of your family that feels like they need to fall on the sword, if you are the member of your family that is the martyr of the family, I love to see the turnaround where your family comes and says, you're an idiot. You don't have to be alone in these situations.
Mom, I think Louise wrote a real poem for that library contest. Huh? I think she was embarrassed to admit that it might actually be important to her.
What? That sneaky sneakhead! And no parent there to see it! She's all alone!
You don't have to be so strong and, like, who are you being so strong for anyways? You can be that. We are there for you. We are meant to be the people holding you up. We are meant to be, and again, this is why I said, be it your biological family, be it your chosen family, whoever is that chosen pillar in your life and you are the chosen pillar for them, this is what they're meant for. This is what, it's not meant to be perfect. You're not meant to split yourself in two. You're not meant to fall on a sword. What you're meant to do is be open about what means something to you. And you need to open yourself up enough to allow other people to love you back as well. Which brings us on to our second most important theme, which is being seen and the importance of showing up. And I've made a few videos on Tina now. There is no doubt that everyone loves Tina. Everyone sees themselves in Tina. Everyone wants to take care of her. Everyone loves Tina. I think the way Tina transformed for me in this episode in particular is something immensely special. Immensely special. I cannot... So if you see this light, we're starting teary-eyed thinking about this, which is so... Shh, we can be soft. I think it's immensely special, and I think it's so important. This Tina who showed up for Louise in this episode, when if you watch it throughout this episode, Tina is constantly... You know what's funny? It starts from the moment they sat in the car. From the moment they sat in the car, Tina was the first person to clock to Louise saying, hey, I've known you've been doing this poem for the longest time. Her parents accidentally, but did forget that she was doing this poem. Tina has been talking to Louise for the longest time and saying, hey, I think this year you should do a sincere poem. I think I saw you do something. Didn't you confide in me to tell me that you did something separate. You know, like there was like a very special build-up between that.
I still think you should have submitted something from the heart this year, not so much about poop.
I know, that would have been hilarious.
And Louise also, she wasn't even looking at Tina in that car ride because she knew that Tina is the first person who would actually be able to clock what she was doing.
Some of us answer to a higher calling, okay? The word poop on the wall at the library for 1 month. Let's drop it, all right?
But didn't you say you wrote a dumb, serious one? Which are your words, not mine. Can I just see your folder? I thought I saw you put something...
Tina, enough! I'm not gonna be poop shamed during the holidays.
And then that's why it was Tina who was the first person to figure out that Louise had submitted a really sincere poem.
I wonder if Louise has read her poop poem yet. She was acting weird in the car, I think. But didn't you say you wrote a dumb, serious one? Did she? Oh my god.
And then no one was there for her, and that it actually meant something to her. And then she just kept pushing for Linda to go, or Bob to go, or for anyone to go see this, to the point where she had to then be deceitful towards her mother, and change costumes with another girl just so that she could be the person who showed up.
It was Tina's idea!
At the exact right time for Louise to read this poem and to show up for Louise to read this poem, even thinking about it, because you could, even when Louise went up to that pedestal, she's at this pedestal or podium, I don't know. Basically, when she went to read her poem, she had both the poems in front of her, the one about poop and the one about her family, and it was a room, you can see she was looking out in a room full of strangers, and it's so funny because you'd think if you're in a room full of strangers, you'd be more willing to read something sincere so that, you know what, maybe people who know you don't make fun of you. But it's that interesting role reversal because she needed someone to be there, so she had the strength to read something sincere. So she had weirdly enough, you need to be vulnerable to have the strength to be open, to do things that are challenging and do things that you will do alone, but there are at least people in your corner, and you know there are people in your corner. So I think the sibling loyalty theme that took place in this episode is so brilliant.
You love your family.
Quiet love is not about creating the perfect Christmas moment. It's not about creating the perfect Christmas episode. It's the kind of love that doesn't come through grand gestures. It's the kind of love that comes through sitting and listening and understanding and truly caring about people that you have epiphanies when you're away from them. And then, no matter how difficult it was, no matter what the turnaround needed to be, and to be fair, performative love, I'm going to say performative love in the sense that you do try to do some sort of gesture to make it. Bob ran down the street. He chased after a taxi cab. He scaled a building. He did everything he could to try to make it to Louise's performance in the middle of Jean's performance so that he could see the beginning of Jean's performance, catch Louise reading her poem so someone was there for her, and then also go back to see the end of Jean's performance. So there is and to be fair, that's a grand gesture because we're watching the gesture happening. In reality, that's just something your parents will do without you realizing that they do something like that. You know, really, or the people you love will do just to go above and beyond to try to be there. Louise knew her dad was running down the street like that, scaling walls just to go see her read her poem. I'm pretty sure, you know, in those situations, it's so funny because it's kind of like, I'm pretty sure she would have been like, no, you absolutely don't have to scale a wall to come see me. It's fine. Don't worry about it. No, it is important. It is immensely important to let people scale walls for you and jump hurdles. And through yeah, I'm not advocating that anyone with bad knees should be doing this, but at the same time, it's okay for a grand gesture or two to happen to us every once in a while. It is perfectly fine. We need to calm down. We need to allow for some softness. We need to allow to be loved. Because love is about showing up, not about getting it right. And Christmas is not about getting everything right and for it to be magical and for it to just be this, whatever this time of year feels like for you. Hopefully it feels very nice. I'm hoping for you it feels nice, it feels conclusive, it gets you ready and prepared for the next year, and I hope everyone is feeling happy. If you're not feeling happy, I hope you feel happy right now watching this at least. That's my intention. And if you still don't feel happy watching this, then definitely watch that episode and you will feel happy. You'll cry, but you will feel happy. So in the wise words of Louise, I will leave you with this.
Didn't expect to feel this way. I was focusing on Santa. But the best presents are sitting here, and they aren't even wrapped up.